Good morning, everybody. This is Jessica at Grace and Truth Ministries, and today I am going to show you how I set up my planner as a homemaker with ADD or ADHD. So this isn't going to be something that necessarily works for everybody. This is just what works for me, but I did want to show you guys, especially for people who maybe have ADHD and are just wondering how to organize themselves and organize their day and keep track of everything. If you have the kind that I have, which is inattentive ADHD, it's that much harder to keep track of tasks, of what you're supposed to do throughout the day, just of keeping track of things you're supposed to remember. And so for me, this is the system that I came up with that works. Sorry, I know there's like a little light there. Bear with me, my lighting this morning is a little wonky. Usually I film in the afternoon, but I just wanted to sit with you guys and do this kind of in real time because I was going to be filling out my planner anyways, and I thought, well, then I'll just have you guys see how I actually use it, what it actually looks like. So for some of you, this may be a little chaotic, and I apologize because it's literally just how I do things. So if this is too much for you, if it seems like it's a little busy and you're like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming, I'll try to explain why it looks the way it does, but that's just how it is. Okay, so for starters, this is an Erin Condren Life Planner vertical layout. I want to say it's like a 5x9, I think is her specs on this thing, and this is a 2-year one. It goes from July of 2023 to December of 2024, so it's more like a year and a half. But and this is primarily what I use to set up my day by day activities and things to do. This is my Hobonichi 2023, and I'll show you how I use this because I actually use this as a dual system, okay? The other thing that I use for planning is Post-it notes, and I'll just kind of describe that as I go along. So first, let me explain how I have my planner laid out. So it's kind of messy, it's kind of busy, but you'll see that I have these 2 tab things here, and then in the back I have a pocket. So in the back is usually where I keep receipts for the month that I'm going to be putting into our budget system, because I like to see where I am financially, if I'm actually on point with budgeting for the different categories, or if I'm way off. But I will keep those there. Sorry. Like I said, I normally film in the afternoon when I've had plenty of coffee and all the energy to go around. And then the other thing that I put in the back is any mail or anything that I have to respond to, I'll just put back there. So then I'm going to start with my monthly section, and kind of give you an overview of what that looks like. And I wonder, is that too close? Here, we'll go with that. Okay, so this is how I lay out my monthly. I have one of these plastic divider things that I put in with a list of all the things that I know I want to do in the month. Whether I accomplish it or not is kind of a moot point. It's just important to me to have it listed there to remind myself, hey, remember, this is what you thought you were going to do. Like I said, with ADHD, it's something that I feel is important to be able to just have as a frame of reference. Over here, this is the age of my chickens currently, so it's helping me to keep track of when I can start expecting them to lay eggs. And then I don't use this calendar for my family events or keeping track of that. That's what I use this one for. I use this one because it's small, it can fit in my pocket, fit in my purse. This guy doesn't go anywhere, okay? It stays on my table, and it just gives my everyday, it stays right where I'm moving past, walking past, so I can check it all throughout the day. Then this part is the spending tracker. As you can see, financially, I try to keep track of what it is that I've spent. However, I'm not very consistent with documentation, and so it's empty at the moment. So I don't know how well this is working for me, but it's just what I'm trying to do. Over here, I will put anything that I'm helping my kids keep track of. In this case, my son has a project that's due towards the end of the month, and then he had a project due that day. So I try to just so I can ask them the right questions and say, hey, did you do this? How's it going? Do you need help? Otherwise, I forget what my kids need. And my kids also, one of my children has ADHD as well. And so it is important that I can just be present and help them with that. So this monthly component is mostly just for keeping track of other people's things, and then maybe any projects going on in the house. So that is how I use that. Now, when I show you my weekly spreads, don't panic, because it looks a little crazy at first, but we'll get through it together. Okay, so then I want to show you this page. So this page is the goal planning page. I didn't really get very far in September's. Did I get further in August? I don't know. It's just kind of where I plop things down. Any goals I want to work on, any projects I want to work on. I like to put down verses or maybe pictures of the family or that kind of thing in those empty spaces. I can say that the summer I was a little less strict on using my planner, but now that fall's kicked in and we've got more things to keep track of and that kind of stuff, I'll probably be much more consistent with using it. So this is at the beginning of the month. It's right after that that calendar. That's just how Ann Condren has her planner laid out. Then I can go into the weekly. So I'm going to start by showing you what a finished week looks like before I show you what my unfinished week looks like. Okay, so this is basically last week. It's what it looked like with how it's laid out in its finality. In the corner by the weekend, this is Saturday, Sunday, I usually just have a post-it that keeps my grocery list for the week, anything that I need to pick up. So I stick this in there empty, and I'm gonna, while we're talking about it, I'm just gonna make the one for this upcoming week, so that way it'll be good to go when we get to that page. Okay, and that's usually how I start it. And then any kind of important things I'll put on the side like that. In that case, it was Labor Day, and that was down the side. I have 3 categories for the 3 boxes. I have a list of stuff up here that I kind of put as important, and I'll walk you guys through that. And down here is where I keep some other stuff. So that's kind of what a finished page looks like. Now, when I am in a week and I'm starting to think of what I need to do the next week, then I'll just literally just stick it on a post-it and slap it into the following week. I don't have to think about it, it's just there. It helps me to keep track of it, because the way I have to think about my brain, and once I started thinking this way, it really did help to understand, is that I have ADHD. It's basically like I have no memory in my brain. I know that sounds terrible to say, but what it is it's that my memory has to have a frame of reference, which in my case is paper. For some people it might be your phone, but I just prefer the tangible aspect of paper. So when I flip this page, it's gonna look bad, you guys, and I'm just gonna throw that out there. But this is the current week, and this is what it looks like right before I set it up, okay? So underneath these 2 sides, it's empty, but this is what it looks like at the beginning of the week. I usually do this process on a Sunday night so that it's ready for the upcoming week. and I didn't do it like that this week. Things just kind of came up. But that's kind of what it looks like. I'm going to give you guys a minute to look at it, mostly because I need to get a glass of water. I apologize, but I will be right back. I have asthma, and sometimes I can film and talk and not have a problem, and other times I'm like, oh my gosh, my throat hurts so bad. Okay, so if you look over here, this is where all my Post-its go. There's another thing I want to tell you guys. Ladies, I have opened it up to my husband leaving me Post-it notes, which has been an interesting thing, but the reason is because sometimes he'll ask me to do something as a homemaker. And remember, for those of you who are new to the channel, at Grace and Truth, everything here is based on my faith in Christ. I am a Christian, and that is the foundation and principles of which I design my life. I am a homemaker, and as a homemaker, I am a helpmate to my husband, because I do believe in the biblical principles of marriage. So it is important for me to be able to help my husband with the things that he needs help with. And sometimes he'll tell me things like, hey, can you help me? In this case, I have a rebate. Can you help me fill it out? And I'll say, oh yeah, of course. And then I'll forget, because that's just the unfortunate side of my brain. And we had some conversations about it, because I don't like not being successful. Like, I don't like if he comes home and he's like, oh, did you do this thing? I certainly don't want to be saying no, because I do want to be his helpmate. That is part of my role as being a homemaker, and my primary role as being a homemaker is being able to help my husband's life run more smoothly, so he can focus on his work and his ministry and all of those things. So the decision we made was, since I use Post-its for myself, he can use them too. So he knows where I keep my planner, and he just slaps Post-its for me right here, and then I put them where they need to be. Okay, so that's this section. So I'm going to take all these Post-its, because these are the ones that him and I wrote for myself for this week, for the things that I need to do, and I'm going to take them off and just set them on the table for now, and I'll get to that. This section right here is my, oh my gosh, this does not go here. Sorry, you guys. This is my, like, categories for the week. So I've got what I want my kids to be doing. I have, what I want going on for Grace and Truth. I have over here maybe some other projects that maybe I'll get to this week, maybe I won't, but I definitely want to keep track of them. Some ministry work ideas, and then when I flip it over here, these are my current prayers for the week. And this is something that changes, and that's why this insert just kind of follows me from week to week. Okay, so I'm going to take that out and set that aside too. And then I've got this little handy paper, which kind of helps me set up my cleaning schedule for the week. I'm getting to the point where I don't really need this, but I still depend on it just as a check and balance. I'm sure at some point I'll get rid of it, but we'll go through that together. And then any papers that I need to act on for the week, such as mail, or if there's, like, for instance, last week we had a wedding we went to, so I had the invite sitting here. Anything like that, I'll just stick there. That way it's in the current week that it relies on, and I keep track of it. It's so easy. Okay, so now we're at the beginning of setting up the planner. So as you can see, it's got, and this is why I chose this one, it's got 3 categories across vertically. I used to have one that had 5 categories, because I used to use the teacher planner of Erin Condren's. I felt that was a little overkill for now being as a homemaker. So this one is the one that I liked because it had the separation. For me, I need the separation. It's just part of who I am. I can't have like one list without thinking categorically. So that's why it's like this. The bottom section is where I put my menu for the week, and then also any appointments that I have. So that's how I keep that track. The top is where I put what cleaning tasks I am assigning each day to, or special projects. And so I'm just gonna go through and like set this up with you guys. I'll talk through it. Maybe I will fast forward. I guess we'll just wait and see. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so as I said before, I have this like, hold on, I moved it and I don't know if you can still see it. Oh yeah. I have this planner, and this is what I use for different tasks each day. So each day has a category, and then what I do is I just write it on the top over here. And I like to use different markers each week just because I'm a weirdo. But Mondays is my kitchen day, so that's the day that I will do all of my food prep. I know a lot of people do it on Sundays. I don't like doing that. Sundays is a lot of family time, and so that's just that's not the day that I do it. And then Tuesdays is when I do my living room. Wednesdays is when I do my bathroom and my, oh nope, I switched this. Oh my goodness, where's my Meadow? Come here, little guy. I switched this because I started incorporating something else. I apologize. Okay, so living room and bathroom is Tuesdays. And then Wednesdays is when I do my bedroom clean and any laundry that's hanging out. So something to say about laundry for me is I actually do laundry every single day. It is part of my daily task, but on occasion, even with doing laundry every single day, I might have some laundry that's still remaining. I have a dog that when we put him in his like kennel, we have to put a blanket because he's very, he's a trauma dog, but because of it, it gets kind of stinky and stuff. So if I ever do have to put a blanket down, I just wash it right away and get a new one. So we go through blankets a lot. We go through towels a lot because we try to stay paper free. And that means that basically every day we have at least one load of laundry. Okay, then this day, on Thursdays, I don't do anything because that is a special day. And then Friday I do any bill paying, and then the coop. The chicken coop is Fridays. My basement is Fridays, and actually bills are Thursdays. And then outside of our house, like if I need to do any work in the patio or in the yard or that kind of thing, I do that on Saturdays. And then I do my menu and my bread prep on Sundays. Okay, so that's my current layout for like tasks, and I put it right at the top because it helps me to understand that's my focus for the day. Then there's these other things that I do that I'm gonna show you here. Each section has a purpose, and in this case I categorize it life, and then here is home, and then here is, I call it hustle. And I'll explain that in a minute. And I put those three things on the edges. It just reminds me what the categories are. Oh, sorry, I'm shaking the whole table. I apologize. Okay, so it just reminds me what those three sections are about. And so I'll put that there. And then the other thing I do is I put my menu here. So I always, the weeks I have my kids, it's tacos on Tuesday. Today, my son, or on Wednesday, my son has baseball tryouts, so we're doing spaghetti on that day because it's an easy thing, but it's also a quick fix. And then we are doing, okay. So that's my menu. I usually don't plan Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes I do. It just depends. I have other things that are going to go with these. I just like to put the main dish part there because then I am flexible in what I add to it. I don't like to be too rigid in those areas, so that's why I usually don't put anything there. And then in my scheduled needs, what I do is write it in a black thicker marker. So my husband has worship practice on this day. My son has baseball tryouts on this day. We don't have anything those 2 days, and we don't have anything that day. My daughter has play practice every day, but I don't write that down because it's the same every week. So that's just a standing appointment that I don't necessarily have to keep track of. Okay, so now this is where my appointments and my menu go, is in these gray areas here. And then over here, I usually put our verse of the week because I do like to meditate on it and just like ruminate on it a little bit. Or if there's ever any special things that I need to keep track of, then I will put that there also. And so this is the verse that I have for the week. So I'm just going to put that in. If you guys cannot read my handwriting, like, I apologize. I get that comment a lot from a lot of people that they can't read it. And you know what? It's okay, because when you have an agenda and you have a planner, like, the only person that has to read it is you. So I guess if you can't read it, that's fine. Okay, so then I have that, and then the next thing that I add on is just a reminder of a couple things, because I have a tendency to like forget what I'm doing sometimes. And so again, that's the whole like downside of ADD a little bit. So I like to literally put pretty much everything I want to do in that day in sections. So it does end up being a lot on the planner, and that can be overwhelming for people too. But because I categorize it, I feel like it helps me. I know where these things are. It's not too hard for me to understand, and I try to keep it in areas that are not like and color coded, so when you look at it, you don't see it like so much, if that makes sense. Okay, so these 3 things I'm writing in like black are the things that are just every day that I just really want to remind myself to do. Prayer. I love Bible study. Bible study is so easy for me. I get up at like 5:15, 5:30 every morning, and it's one of the first things I do. It's not a problem for me to sit down with my Bible and do my daily Bible readings, but what is a problem for me, or tends to be, is to remind myself to pray throughout the day. So I do have a tendency to talk to Jesus and talk to the Lord throughout the day, but what I often forget is to do like this section of prayer time, to to really hone in and focus on the people I know, their needs, their prayer, what they need help with. And so this is my prompt. It reminds me that I need to make sure I have a specific concentrated time for that prayer time, and then also just to be receiving God's voice, because sometimes I don't give myself the clarity or the moment that I need to have that message from God. Okay, so that's what that is. This daily one right here is this list. So it this section right here. It reminds me, did I go through and make my bed, clean up my bathroom, pick up my living room? Did I do all those things that make my house stay in order so that I can focus on my other my crazies, which are right here? Because I want to be able to get through those, and then these are the real concentrated tasks, or the to-dos that I have throughout the days that I have to kind of pick and choose where they're going to go. So then I'm going to lay my grocery list right here, because that's where I'm going to keep track. And I say grocery, but really it's like anything that I have to go buy. So I put that right there, and that just becomes like a working space. So it starts out empty, and then throughout the week it'll fill in with whatever it is that I have. So that's my layout. Then the next step that I do is I take all these little guys and I start picking what days they're gonna fall on, right? Because I mean, when you accumulate all this stuff, like, it's not all gonna be in 1 week. This one, actually, I'm gonna flip it to the next week. So sometimes I'll just slap, again, like how you found it, I slap them there, and look, now it's like, it's still there, but I'm not doing it. Okay, this one was from last week, but I didn't get to it. I'm actually gonna save that one for, let's see, I was gonna do decorating the house on one of these 2 days. I'm gonna put it over here. Okay, so once it's in my agenda, I'll stick it over here, and at the end of everything, then I just throw them away because they're written down. And if I don't get to it in this week, and like as an example, if there was, this one right here, shower clean, if I don't get to it that week, that's the other thing I need to do, is I look at what I didn't do and decide if it still has to happen. In that case, yes, and I'm doing it on this day. Okay, so then this one, this is my husband's handwriting. I did this already, but I do have to follow up with them because I have a question as to which account it's going to be in, and that goes under hustle, which is like a monetary thing, and I'm going to put that one on this day because I'm doing bills that day. Okay, potatoes. Here's one. Oh, this one I have to do for work, and I'm gonna put that up here. And then it keeps going like that. So I'm not gonna show you, like, I think that's good, right? You kind of understand what I'm saying about that. So I'm not gonna keep going through all my Post-its because I feel like that would just be kind of boring maybe. But I am going to talk about this next little doohickey right here. So this is my travel guy. He goes with me everywhere. So it sits either in my coat pocket or my purse or that kind of thing. And this is what I call my brain. For some people, it's like a commonplace notebook. I haven't used it in a commonplace style in its entirety. A commonplace notebook, for people that don't know, is like it's a notebook, it's a catch-all notebook that you can use to keep track of things that are important to you. So if you want to learn, something new, you can put notes in about that. If you want to keep track of special quotes, you can put that in. If you're trying to data collect for eschatology or for apologetics or something like that, you can, make sections in your commonplace notebook for that. This is set up as a daily calendar, and so it's not quite a commonplace notebook, but I will put in at the top notes to myself about my brain. I do have high blood pressure. I did historically, and so I do keep track of my blood pressure there. But here it says I need to do better at homestead stuff, specifically selling and making. So my money making, my hustle category, oftentimes I'll get through these two categories, and then this guy just, I don't know. So it's a reminder to myself for that, and have to work on reviewing my weekly work, meaning what went well, what do I need to change, this kind of part, what's missing, why. I like to reflect on if I'm truly meeting the needs of my family, if I'm being Christ-like with my time, if I'm being a good steward of the resources God gave me. Am I using this ministry of homemaking to its fullest purpose? And so, yeah, I want to be able to review that. Sorry, I've been digging potatoes and processing grapes, and my nails are just gross because I've been in the garden and squishing things, and so I apologize. I didn't really use a nail brush or anything to get it clean, but so this top section, that's what that's for. And then this bottom section, I have a highlighted spot there for putting in weekly appointments, right here, so that I can keep track of our important weekly appointments. And then this section is just what I like to keep track of, any memories I'm keeping track of. In that case, my husband and I went to Island Music. We're both musicians, and I like to know certain things we do. What does that say? Chickpeas for dinner. Oh, I made this dish that was really good that we really liked. So this is just my my brain, because I don't really have that. And then everybody has a brain, Jessica. Of course you have a brain. God made you perfect in his image. I have a brain. Its strengths are in other areas. Okay, and then this is my family calendar. So I categorize it with our names here. So anything specific to my daughter is in pink. Anything as a family is in, orange. Anything for my son is in blue. My husband's green. He doesn't have a lot of scheduled stuff this week yet. There's a couple things of his I need to put in here I didn't do yet. And then I am purple. And these heart days are my custody schedule of my children. And so this is just how I keep track of all that stuff, and it just keeps going throughout the year, previous months, and that's what this is. So when I am doing Bible time or going anywhere or whatever, I will just keep this handy. Sometimes my mind distracts me and I can't focus on things, and then I will just write what my distraction is up here so that it's at least on paper, and then I can focus. And that's another reason why I wanted to show it to you guys for my ADD or ADHD. I also do that with Post-it notes. If there's something specifically that's oh, I gotta remember to do this, I can't remember to do it, I'll stick it on a Post-it note and stick it in here. And then later, if it needs to be put into this planner, it can be put into this planner. But these two things, it goes with me everywhere, and so that's why it's that's why I call it my brain. So there you have it. there is my way that I establish my planner as a homemaker. I put my home keeping things right in the middle. Any way that I'm making money or anything that deals with money goes down here, such as paying bills or, you know, financial appointments or anything like that. Any personal appointments I'll put up here. Like this, I have a TB test. I'm going to be working very, very part-time at the school nearby, and they require a TB test, so that's what that is. So that's kind of how that's set up. I put a reminder for water here because I just don't drink enough water if I'm not thinking about it, and then I get like this where my throat hurts and it's hard to talk. So that's just how it works for me. It works really well. It stays on my table. It stays open. So throughout the day, as I'm working through tasks, oh, that's another thing. As I finish a task, I will use a marker and just cross it off. That just shows me it's done. So it gets me through a whole day. Like it's done, it's done, it's done, it's done. Apparently this day I didn't do laundry. This day I had a couple things I didn't do, etc. That's okay. This the other part is if you're not like, if you don't stay on top of it and you don't get everything done, who cares? It just means that you either underestimated how much time something was going to take, you overestimated how much time you have in a day, or worst case scenario, you didn't spend your time efficiently. And that's where looking at yourself and being reflective is important, because then you have a better understanding as to, you know, did I do well or not. And the other thing that I want to say about this is I always remind myself that my time is for the Lord. It's for my husband as his helpmate, and it's for the Lord. He's the one who gives us all of the blessings. He provides us. He's our provider. Everything we own belongs to him. He gifts us with these amazing things so that we can do ministry for our children, for our families. And so then this verse, I swear it's like, sometimes it's just my motto. Whatever you do, do your work heartily as for the Lord, rather than for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the rewards of the inheritance. It is the Lord Christ whom you serve. And this is my reminder that I try to keep in my mind when I'm going through the different tasks, when I'm trying to think of fun ways to like to bring more ministry into my work. As an example, right now my son's been having his friends over quite a bit, and so I'm going to be looking at different ways to create snacks for these kids, because they're at that age where boys just eat a lot and they like food, and if I want to provide a ministry to these kids and love on them and bring joy to their life and show them Christ, you know, that's one of the things that I can do. So I think the other key thing as being a homemaker with ADHD is it's okay to have ideas and be creative and all of those things, but you really do have to have a concentrated approach to what it is that you do with your time, because it's very easy to lose track of time. It is so easy, especially if you have that like razor sharp focus on things. It is so easy to lose track of your time. So if you have a project, the other thing that I can suggest is set time limits for yourself so that you know, okay, if this goes beyond 30 minutes, I have to move on. I can't finish it that day. And that's okay. It's just being productive also means prioritizing. So a lot of times these like cluster of things that sit on my table, I have to prioritize these. I can't say I'm going to get all of them done in a day. And sometimes I make mistakes and I don't prioritize well. And that's, you know, a question that I'll then come back to and ask myself why, what happened. I think a big part too is giving yourself creative time. Without creative time, you're going to get distracted, because at least that's my case with my personality. I'm a creative person, and if everything is just list, I'm gonna get distracted easily. I'm gonna end up turning on YouTube when I shouldn't, or that kind of thing. So it's important to me to have that creative outlet that like sparks my energy and makes me happy, and then I can, you know, focus on the other things as well. So I hope this is helpful to you. Excuse me. I hope you found this system not to be overwhelming, but maybe to be, you know, something that might help your homemaking journey. I hope that your life is blessed with this content. And I just want to say a prayer with you guys. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this ministry. Thank you for grace and truth. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to pour into the people of your Christian faith, Lord. I pray that anybody who stumbled on this channel today, especially those who have ADD or ADHD, I just pray, Lord, that you touch their lives with this content, that this information helps them, that they find a way to take it and make it their own, that they can use it in their lives to be more productive as wives to their husbands, to be better helpmates, Lord, to grow their ministries in their homes, and to just grow in the abundance that you have for each of us as your children, Lord. I pray that you protect everyone that comes on this channel, Lord. You are moving through your children. You are moving through your kingdom, and I just pray that you touch the hearts of the people that are here. And thank you, Lord, for this time. Thank you for this day. Amen. Thank you, everybody, for stopping. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless and goodbye.